Hey guys, it's me Jake from JakeMan21642. Thought I would give you guys a little video of what I have here today. This is a 2013 Ford Focus, and as you can clearly tell, this one is the S. So this is pretty much like the base of the base models. As you can see on the tags, I did drive it home from work today, just because I'm getting the scratches taken out of my Accord from the whole taxi situation I had happen last week. And this had gas, and it was wholesale, so my manager was like, yeah, just take it home. He told me to take something to drive for the day, so thought I'd give this a chance. This was a trade-in that we got last week, and it's going to auction. There's really nothing wrong with it, but no one's going to come into a Volvo dealership and buy a Focus with black door handles and hubcaps. But as you can see, this one does have pretty much the base white exterior. Up front, they did change it from the 2012 models. On the newer ones, you get this more like flat black plastic, which I'm not a huge fan of how it looks. And also, these look so much better in any color other than white. Coming along the side, you can see this one is riding on Continental Conti Pro contact tires, which really need to be rotated. They are 195/65 R15s, so 15-inch steel wheels with your wheel covers right here. And everyone bashes into the Conti Pro contact tires, but really they're not that bad. We had them on Mom's car actually from the factory, and they lasted until about 48,000 miles, I believe. So they're not that bad if you can actually take care of them. Along the exterior, as you can see, this one's actually pretty clean for a trade-in. Do have the magnet tag, which I'm amazed hasn't fallen off yet. And as I mentioned, you do have black door handles, black mirrors. You do get this nice, more glossy black trim around the windows, but that's pretty much all to show on the exterior. So we'll go ahead and start it up. I will try to get a quick drive of it before I take it back later. And it does have one key with keyless entry, which is kind of your typical new Ford key fob. And then you get two of the cheap keys with the S. So we'll go ahead and step inside of this one. And overall, I mean, the door open and close, even on the base model, is pretty solid feeling. Inside, this one does have the black cloth interior. I don't believe the S comes with any other colors, but it is this more nice two-tone with the gray in the middle. So we'll go ahead and step inside of it. This is why I never do videos at home. And as you can see, this one does have 23,000 miles. So, and it does have the feature I really like as well, that pretty much every new Ford has, where you can just and coming inside of the Focus, literally the first thing I noticed, which this is just something I've always noticed with these cars. I actually had a friend that had one. I've known many people that have had them. We've had a few at work that I've driven. The first thing I noticed is there's so much vibration from the engine that comes inside. Even when these cars have 5,000 miles or 65,000 miles, there is so much vibration that comes inside. And the Fiesta is kind of the same way too, I've noticed. But especially with this, like, you can feel it through the pedals. On manual transmission ones, you can feel it through the clutch. Sitting here holding the steering wheel, you can feel it. And like, it's just really weird for a new car. It feels like being in my 94 Saturn. But you do have very nice and light electric power steering, but it is pretty well tuned. The first thing I noticed in this car is you get steering wheel audio controls and Bluetooth commands, but you don't get cruise control. And you get this actually pretty nice trim around here, but that's something I don't understand. Like, it's 2013. You could have put cruise control in here. You can just see what I mean about that vibration. I can feel it sitting here, just not touching anything. Along the door, everything is hard touch material, but this is the base, so it all fits together pretty well. You do get the black plastic door handles. Around here, you do have cloth, and it is somewhat padded. You have your two power front windows. No power back there. Headlight controls down here. There's no automatic lights or anything in the S. I believe the SE adds that. If you get this, I think just if you get the SE, you get that. You have your trunk release, your gauge dimmer down here. The gauge is in the middle, pretty much the same gauges that are in every new Ford, and they're not bad looking. I really like the blue along the needles and everything like that. And another thing I like is your little screen up here. As you can see, it will show when the headlights are on. It'll show you if a light is out. It'll show you which one is out. Doors, all of that. So that is a nice little thing, and you can scroll through there and have all your little trip computer, all of that. As you can see, even after me flooring it home, it's still getting 31.9 miles per gallon. Believe it or not, if you get the manual transmission, even though it's a 5-speed, you'll get way better gas mileage than the automatic. Along the dash, it's all soft touch material. I mean, these actually did have a pretty nice interior, even in the base models. But as you can see with this one, the dashboard is like coming unglued from the windshield. Like, this is insulation that you can touch up here, as you can see. Because over there, it's kind of not really doing it, and then it kind of just does that. This one also has a 215 inspection sticker. I just remembered that. In the middle, you do get your standard audio system in this one, which really doesn't sound that bad. Has Bluetooth and all that. And one thing a lot of people don't know that I learned about these cars from my friend that owned one is you can't connect a phone on Bluetooth unless you are in park. I know that's something that confuses a lot of people, but you have CD, radio, auxiliary phone, all of that along here, all of this over here. And this is kind of complicated to use. It's easier when you're driving, believe it or not. It is easier to use. The screen's still kind of tiny, but I like how up it is and it's in your line of sight. You have all your controls though. CD player right here. It is nice that they give you that. And I will take this, even though it's kind of confusing to use, any day over my 4 Touch. Like, I was in a brand new Escape the other day, and my 4 Touch is still pretty bad. It's still laggy, it's still slow, it still freezes. I'll take this any day. It's just simple. There are some things that just work better, and this works so much better. And it's really not a bad system either. It's the screen especially is really crisp and nice to use. You have your locks in the center. I guess that's Ford trying to be fancy and European. And your hazard controls right here. And these little buttons down here will control different things along the bottom, like mute, AST, tune, info. Down here you do have your single zone climate control, which actually all of these are really nice and solid, and they're rubberized. In models like the SEL and Titanium, you can get dual zone automatic climate control. And I believe in the SE, this is a little bit nicer looking than it is here. Down here you do have your passenger airbag on and off, defrost, and your 2 card slots. You have some storage up here. And this one is equipped with everyone's favorite transmission, the 6-speed power shift automatic. And let me just tell you, Ford's dual clutch automatics, they have not improved. I've driven so many of these, again, with everything from 800 miles to 65,000 miles, and they're all the same. These transmissions, the power shift in the Focus and the Fiesta, they are just, get the manual. I made this one stumble so bad going through a roundabout on my way home. Merging onto the highway, it got so confused, it rolled back on a hill. Just don't buy it. I'm serious. Just get the automatic. Don't bother with, get the manual. Do not bother with the automatic. As you can see too, this one does have Sync by Microsoft. And since it is the base S, you don't get any backup camera or anything. But I mean, it's a Focus. You don't need a backup camera in a car this size. Down here you do have change storage, which is nice and mucky. I'm not touching that. And the power outlet, which on later build models, I believe like the 2014, they did change the design of the power outlet a little bit, especially in the higher trim levels that actually have a center armrest. They did change the design of this a little bit just so it's better to use. You have your parking brake down here. This is just the base and SE parking brake. The Titanium gives you, or the SEL and Titanium give you the nice parking brake that's right here. But I actually like this one because when you have it pulled and you're just sitting in the car, it's actually out of the way. The one here, when you pull it up, it's right in the middle of everything. Back here you do have 2 cup holders, as I mentioned, and some storage with USB and auxiliary. And I don't know what happened to the USB. Maybe this just doesn't have it. But the USB is like gone. Either that or it's like punched in down there. Seats, as I mentioned, they're pretty comfortable when you're just in the car for like 5 minutes. I've taken a road trip in a Focus, and they're really not that comfortable after a while. They're kind of stiff, but they're not bad for what you get. As you can see, everything follows through over there. And then inside of here, you have all the owner's literature and everything else. You do have a pretty nice sized glove box. So we'll put the front window down. Everything is unlocked. Pop the hood right here. And release the hood. Coming to the back seat of the Focus, these actually have one of the smaller back seats in their class. I mean, they still have a decent amount of room, and it's pretty comfortable, but it's still rather small. As you can see, this seat's back very far. And this being the base model, doesn't have a center armrest. It has a one-piece folding back seat as well, and everything in the back seat is hard touch material. I mean, everything. You do have your window cranks right here, which I guess is nice if you're like afraid of computers and believe in chemtrails, but it's a crank window. Not really much to say about that. Coming to the trunk of the Focus, again, S, so you don't have any line or anything up here. You get that. And inside of here, you have some storage. I remember when I took this cover earlier, a ton of dust flew out of there, so I'm not doing that again. As I mentioned, it does have a one-piece back seat. And underneath of here, you do have a spare tire. It's got that typical newer Ford smell inside of here. And this, the first thing I noticed, actually has a very decent amount of sound deadening material on it. So, decent amount of space back there. And as I mentioned, the trunk does have hinges, but they kind of do go off to the side and don't affect your cargo as bad as some cars do. Try not to make that fall off. Gas cap on this side, right here. As you can see, it is a Ford system that doesn't have the little cap. You can just put the gas nozzle straight into it. Back seat from this side. One thing I do like about the Focus too is you get this little storage compartment here, as well as here. Crank window on this side too. And up front, you have a manual passenger seat, of course. You can see the halogen headlights. And up underneath the hood of this one, you have the 2-liter direct injected 4-cylinder, which produces 160 horsepower, which is actually about the same amount of power my Accord makes. And it moves the car out pretty well, actually. I was on the highway flying with this thing, I'm not going to lie, but it definitely does feel like a cheap car when you drive it. But overall, it's pretty solid. It's way better than the older Focus, especially if you get a loaded one, not the base model. But yeah, just definitely, if you are buying one of these, don't get the power shift and don't get my Ford Touch. And you should be fine. You should have a pretty good car otherwise. Another thing I like, especially you never think about this when you live in suburbia and have a driveway, but when you're like me and you live in the city and park on the street, doors that actually have stops in them, like that, are the greatest thing in the world. You can see this one has 3 positions, but just like that, it's the nicest thing in the world. The Rabbit and Jetta have it too, so the door won't come flying shut if you have it open. I'm noticing, I don't know if you guys can hear that, this is nice and creaky if you touch it. So we'll go ahead and give this one just a quick rev and then shut it off. As you can see, it does have a rev limiter. And overall, it's a pretty smooth and powerful engine. Just at idle, you can really feel the vibration coming through the cabin, which I don't think is really the engine as much as it just is a Ford product. I know that's mean to say, but one other thing I do have to say, even in the base model, you do get the tweeters up here, as well as you do get blind spot mirrors standard on both sides, which blind spot mirrors are, to me, I would rather have that than blind spot detection or something. It's just way more useful. So anyway, we'll go ahead and shut it off right here. As I mentioned, when I go to take the car back, I will get a test drive clip of it, but nothing too special to show anyway. As always, guys, just been a quick video of the Focus. Thanks for watching. And as always, subscribe for more. Any questions, comments, anything like that, drop them down below.